This is Lauren.
This is Trey.
And this
is the Partnership Podcast.
Hello, friends. Apologies in advance. This one gets a little choppy. There was some work going on outside. I tried to edit around it. This is the conclusion to Dishgate. We will never speak about dishes again. And I think we accidentally come to a good, genuine conclusion of how we move forward at the very end. Enjoy.
We still haven't talked a lot.
Okay, so after watching it, and after having this conversation
a million times,
and then having the resolution conversation, because we already did a podcast Monday. It's Wednesday now, and I didn't format the recording, the audio correctly. So
we're back.
Yeah,
a
we're
second
back.
time. Grace for you, right?
Thanks, babe.
We are, I was saying on Instagram.
I felt like a real piece of shit yesterday morning trying to, and then realizing what I did, and then I just texted you. So
I have so many questions about like how hard you are on yourself. I feel like I'm pretty close.
I'm good.
Oh, okay.
Whenever I do this, honey, it's to test. It's for me. It's not. I will communicate with you. I promise. This is not a passive. It's not this. It's not.
Tally. I do wish our audience sometimes could just see us around the house and how I like just go, boop. I joke tally sometimes. You're so hard on yourself. And on these conversations, we go through conflict here. And I wonder sometimes that the audience is like, good grief, he's so hard on her. What I wish people could see is how much harder you are on yourself. This isn't like some crazy standard you're holding me to. You hold yourself to an even higher standard. So my heart broke when I got that text that the audio hadn't been formatted correctly.
I just yelled fuck really loud, and there's nothing I can do about it.
It's actually a good way to release things out into the world. Yelling a good F-bomb.
Okay, babe. So dishes, conflict.
Ad nauseum.
Yeah, ad nauseum. After actually watching the podcast that went out last week, and how did we, because we didn't resolve it in real time. We didn't resolve it in these chairs. How did we ultimately resolve this? And genuinely, it's over. The conflict's done. Everybody's happy again.
We didn't do what we mentioned on the pod that we should do, which is take a walk and talk about it. I do think in the future we actually should do that because we both noted that we had kind of been trapped having all these conversations, which is not good for your body at all. I doubt it's good for mine too. So we'll do that in the future. We didn't do that, but we did get to a point after recording the pod, and jump in here if you feel like I'm leaving something out, where we said there's no more words necessary. This isn't something we are going to figure out by talking anymore. We're going to need some perspective, some time, some trusting each other to go inward on what exactly is truly here, right? Are there some wounds that need to be healed? We've talked about this a little bit. Are there some different conversations, some different plans? And then do we just need to connect our bodies together? Do we just need to connect sexually?
Correct. Yeah. And we ultimately did that. And that was it was so enjoyable, because it's like we got our frustrations out on each other in a very healthy, pleasurable way.
Yeah.
We just had some wild animal sex.
Yeah.
And, that's great.
People will say to me all the time, that it frustrates them when one partner or the other will initiate sex when something isn't completely resolved. And I understand that.
I get that.
I just
You were initiating sex when, and I just wasn't interested.
I was trying to circumvent. There's a big difference of circumventing a problem and then being like, we have tried our hardest, and right now we're just going to need some sleep, some time, some clarity, some going inside. Yeah. And then the sex felt so good. Physical touch is huge for both of us.
What was our week like after our resolution? How were your actions? Let's just keep it in the kitchen. How were your actions in the kitchen? How are my actions in the kitchen?
Yeah, if I'm being completely transparent, feel on edge because I have some things, and we can discuss it now or we can discuss it later, that I think we just need to come up with. We need to have some really clear communication, because right now I'm cleaning every single dish and putting every single thing away, almost hyper-focused. Does it take 20 seconds? Yes. Let's be very clear that It's very true what you said. Finishing doesn't actually take that long, but I am doing it out of obedience instead of like
Obedience to who, though?
right? I don't know, but I just know the difference in my heart, which is fear that you'll be mad again. And so that's what I want to talk about.
Okay. One of the things that we talked about that we both just kind of need to chill, where I need to chill on like, it's okay, it's not the end of the world. And then you need to chill on, it doesn't have to go to this nuclear catastrophic. It's all connected to everything, my past, my future, my successes, my failures. And then, and then we had a conversation about that where in conflict in that podcast, I kept pointing out where it's like, mine's a compartmentalized, like this takes a minute and a half. Could you finish this task? And yours is this nuclear, I'm failing. This reminds me of my ex-husband. This reminds me of my father. This reminds me of obedience. I will not submit. And I kept saying like, mine's this thing, this tiny little thing, and yours is this big thing. And then you said, well, I disagree, where, why do you have that look on your face?
I love you. This is fast. It's so neat to hear you regurgitate things that I've said, because it's so neat to hear how they implant in your mind. No, keep going. It's fascinating.
Okay. And so you said I disagree, where yours is connected to I'm not being seen, I'm not being supported. And it was, because when I tally, like what we left out is, I battled getting your tire fixed with the Sam's Club people, and God bless the Sam's Club people, and they're really sweet people, but they're not exactly on the ball when it comes to, I don't know. So that took hours and hours. And so it was more globally connected than I was giving credit for, even though I saw it as just finished cleaning the pan.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, and I really appreciate that, in our conversations after, you have definitely taken accountability for that, because I don't think that is quote unquote fair arguing when we do that, right? Like, well, you're taking it globally and I'm just talking. No, sadly, we're all interconnected. Am I taking it maybe really far back? Yes. And the thing that I have been really focusing in on over the past few days, even since we had our first round of this, is this concept of our ability as partners who are choosing partnership, right? We said on the first conflict episode, it would be easier to be alone. It just would, in the essence of, I do my dishes when I do them. Okay, I'm not talking about in the grand scheme of things, right? But there are parts of life that would be easier alone. But we have chosen partnership, which means we're also choosing that some things are going to have to take more communication and take us applying ourselves if we care to be here. And so one of the things we chose when we chose each other is the fact that Lauren has this history, right, of head of family and submission and obedience and may I appeal and, forgetfulness is disobedience and, your place is in the home. I have that baggage. And through partnership, we have an opportunity to heal one another. Mm-hmm. And this is what we've been talking about kind of recently, and what I'd love you to listen on, and we can have a whole conversation on another podcast about this, of, sadly, when we're in partnership, so often we recognize in a new family structure that we've created our old family systems, and our body reads it as, familial. Okay. So we're back in family structures, and it's like, no, this is a new one. I need to own what is mine to keep healing, right? What is mine to keep healing. And yet there's a really neat exercise that we can do that Alan Armstrong teaches, where you can kind of take on the embodiment of all of these people in male bodies that hurt me and say, hey, on behalf of all these people in male bodies, I am sorry for the actions done against you, right? Which lets my mind and soul hear it, and then gives me an opportunity to then release and do the work. Then it's on me. And the reason why words like this that sounds so woo-woo and so silly are important.
It's like a theater exercise. That's cool, though.
It is.
It's an imagination exercise.
Well, because then I stop putting the responsibility on you to like do all this others, to constantly be earning my forgiveness from my ex-husband and my father, right? It does need to stop. You're right. You're right. And I wanted to apologize to that. And that's what I said last night. You didn't do what my father did to me and what my ex-husband did to me. And I need to stop putting that on you. I do. Okay. But I think a neat ritualistic kind of healing exercise would be really good for my soul.
Okay.
Would be really good. And so I'd love, you to listen to the part of her workshop to do that with me.
Thanks, babe. Because I don't put that on you like our traditional male, female, like the ancient like household structures.
No, you don't.
We don't have a religious household. I didn't grow up religious, and we don't follow those things.
And then I'd like to do similarly, if you're interested in me saying the same thing about your mother and past girlfriends, because sometimes I do feel the same types of inward resentment. Like I am a follower. Like I will follow through. It might not be on your timetable, but I will follow through. It's very important to me. Am I best at the start? Hell yeah. I'm a great starter. But it's also very important to me to finish. It just sometimes looks different because sometimes it's a little more feminine and creative. And I want the freedom to do that. I don't want to be doubted because other females in the past have not followed through, if that makes sense. I would like the opportunity to do that same thing, but that's on you.
One thing I wanted to point out in like reviewing or like what we made last week was you kept saying, I don't want to surrender. I don't want to surrender. And ultimately in that podcast, it was me that was surrendering because this wasn't worth it. And I just kind of surrendered to like, not going to happen. And you kept saying like, I don't want you to enable me. I don't want you to enable me. And in my head, it's like, do like clean the dish.
Right.
But stepping away, I kind of understand. I don't want to surrender to you. I don't want a partner that surrenders to me. I'm not going to shout you down. I'm not going to, I guess, use the tally against you. This is everything I do. I don't want to do that. So, but there was a point where I was, you know what it is? I just didn't have a solution. Because my brain was shutting off and I kept saying like, what's the solution? What's the solution? Or it's just like, whatever.
Right. Yeah. I'm so glad that we have like footage where we can review our discussions because it's so helpful. That's not what I wanted.
Yeah.
I did not want you to roll over.
What you wanted is you wanted me to communicate with you.
Yeah.
And then I need to be okay with like, yes, we've had this conversation a bunch of times in the past, but that doesn't mean that I need to shut down and start like bottling and then like festering bad feelings because we've had this conversation in the past. And you know what? Fuck that, because like you're not a child. But then it's like it goes to some type of like coach or like student-teacher relationship. So it's kind of a weird, fucked up thing if I'm not going to communicate. And then it's like, is it frustrating? Yes. But can I communicate? Yes. Babe, honey, baby, that one's overnight.
Yeah.
Baby, that one's overnight.
Right.
And then it almost turns into like, it does turn into your cute little thing.
Yes.
But it's not cute. But it turns into like a cute little conversation, and then it's just a reminder. And I need to communicate with you.
And I love that you brought it to that, babe, because parental / coaching / all those relationships, they ain't sexy. And they get really frustrating. And we start to feel very much not like lovers.
Yeah. I guess that's how it turns into like a partner, like a business partnership.
Yeah. And like roommates. Yes. When people say roommates, when people say all these things, they're sharing tasks, but they're actually like parenting one another. We've
both been there.
We've totally done it. What I really appreciate about that mindset too, hun, is that it gives me room for growth, because in both of the seasons, in the seasons where I left the rug out and then also the kitchen was a mess, and then in this season, they have been seasons of, and you said this last night, I loved it, me spreading my wings and then my wings hitting into things like boom, boom, like me learning how far I can extend.
I will not submit this is not right, but even though you don't really correct me if I'm wrong, but like how to like actually verbalize that, where it's like, I'm not going to submit on this. This isn't cool. That's a version of you spreading your wings. And it bumps into shit.
And I was doing more professionally than I had ever done before. Mm-hmm. So in the summer when I left the rug out, right, I was spreading my wings into, do I want to be a professional actor and run this business that I'm running? Mm-hmm. And things fall, right? You knock something off the shelf in that. And it was not intentional. And what I love about the room for communication in that is that I don't want us to stay the same. Like, I don't want us to never grow. I want us to evolve and become and learn and expand and take flight. Yeah. And if that means an occasional need for communication, I'm okay with that. Are you?
Yeah. Totally okay. Like, I'm excited about that.
Right.
I'm excited to communicate better.
Like in seasons where I have less on my plate, I do the dishes because you want to know really why? Because I feel like I'm earning my keep. Okay. So I know when I'm doing the dishes.
And that feeling is not on me, right, babe?
Not at all.
I don't impose that
but
on
I know
you.
when I'm doing it. I do, because I feel like it's the only way to prove my worth, because I am a through and through Enneagram 3 and a generator. It has nothing to do with you.
Okay, great. And I hear that. I don't need to internalize it of me doing something that puts that. Okay.
No.
Tell me if I'm.
Not at all.
Okay, thank you.
No. But I know when I'm in that space. So, and I know when I'm not, right? And that's when it so deeply affects me, because I'm thinking, did I not show my worth in these other areas? And again, this is all, babe. This is all in here. Okay. Which is, again, why it's so helpful to communicate. And I know it's like an added thing we have to do. And I'm sorry. Another thing I really am pondering right now, and we can save this for another ep, but is who owns the dishes and runs the plan and is accountable for a clean kitchen, and who supports that plan. We have talked about this before in other things. But yeah, because I think I need to rephrase it. I think I need to get out of Lauren's body of a woman's place is in the kitchen, barefoot and pregnant. Okay. And more into, we have decided that Trey runs dishes in this home. And if the best way I can support the plan is for him to be like, hey, babe, I take accountability for clean dishes in this house.
Sure.
When you get a chance, would you wash that dish? Because I take account, it's my plan. Thanks for supporting my plan, right? That is a different place in my brain. That is egalitarian. That's communicative. That's how business is run. Okay. Good businesses, right? I run Sex Ed for You, right? And you do so many things to support my business, right? You edited some YouTube content for me the other day. That's how you support my business. Mm-hmm. You don't ever say, oh gosh, she views me as a woman who's down here doing her dirty editing work, right? You don't do that. No. I think I need to flip the script. Okay. In my mind. Yeah. Would you say that you run the plan, like you take accountability for clean dishes being where they are, like that matters to you?
We all do.
See, and that's
like the baby has her task, and like as far as like emptying out the dishwasher and putting them away.
That's why I want to discuss this, because I don't think that works. When you think of a business structure, when you think of a baseball team, when you think of a football team, people have accountability and own certain aspects. Okay. If the defense fails, right, we look at the defensive coach and we're like, this, right? How are you going to fix this? Because they take accountability for something. And I think what we've been trying to do is like sparse it out a little too much. And in the end, it's just making it blurry. Because if I ran the dishes plan, I have no problem telling the baby like, hey, dishes in the dishwasher. With your running of the plan, though, it doesn't seem like that's okay. And I want to be able to talk about these things in a way that serves you. I don't want you to think you're some ogre in a castle. It's fine. You're giving me a really confused face.
I don't like dirty dishes in the sink.
I know.
Does you running the plan now like include dirty dishes in the sink?
This is where I'm saying we just need to decide who actually runs the plan and who's supporting the plan.
Okay.
And who's accountable for the plan. And so like how I'm supporting you, if I'm the supporting role, okay, we do things the coach's way.
What's your plan? I'm confused right
now.
now.
I'm saying I think I just need to support the coach in this. If you run dishes in our house, which I think you do, I think you like being the person in charge of where the dishes go, and you feel like it makes this house run more smoothly, I don't think you want to give that up to me. Do you? Are you confused of where I'm going?
Yeah, I don't. Is someone in charge of dishes in our home? Am I in charge of dishes?
See, this is where I want to have this conversation.
Okay.
Being in charge of dishes doesn't mean you're doing all the brunt work. It means that but you do care how they're done. It's like a coach on a team.
Okay.
Okay? Like he
You're
runs the play.
Though. I don't get it.
But this is where it's getting shifty.
We talk egalitarian, but you keep calling me the coach.
In different things in our home, I think in different things in our home, different ones of us lead and different ones of us support. We've talked about this in different ways.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Where it gets murky, and I don't know why we haven't talked about it from this angle before, because I had to do this at my old work too, is that everybody was trying to be so egalitarian that we didn't know at the end of the day who was accountable for what things, right? So when there was an error, we didn't know who to look to because everyone was like, well, I thought you were doing it. Well, I thought you were doing it. Well, I thought you were doing it. Okay. At some point, we need to sit down and say, okay, who's like accountable for this plan? Who's the leader on this task and who's the supporter? That's okay. That's still egalitarian because I lead other things. I do.
Okay.
And you support them. Now, this is where it gets really funny, is that many of the homekeeping tasks you lead. You do. And I'm the supporter. You're just better. And it's okay. You're more efficient. You have a greater understanding of it. You have greater opinions on it than how I do. I am fine to support. But I like that terminology, and I like giving ownership of it to you, honestly, because then it's not this like, well, I wish you would take responsibility. It's like, no, it's actually not my plan. I can do it your way because it's a good way. It's a good way. If you came in and tried to tell me how to run my business, right? I would be like, this is my business. I'm accountable for it. No, thank you. Right?
Yeah, I make suggestions.
You do.
You make decisions.
You are so good about making suggestions and when I ask for input too. You're so good at that.
I'm still really confused on this support lead coach dish thing.
I can see it in your face.
What's broken in the system?
That I feel often like I am supposed to take as much ownership as you and do it like and then when I choose to do it differently, my way, I see great conflict.
Part of the resolution of this, Dishgate was that I chill. That was a big part of this resolution where it's I need to be more okay with you doing it your way.
Yes. And I think I can do better, is all I'm saying. Because I think if we were to look at who does the majority of the dishes in this house, who would it be?
Me.
Yes.
I see it as a support role for cooking.
Right. And I do lead the cooking,
It's
and
so
you support the
interesting where
cooking.
it's like you keep saying leading dishes. I go, well, I'm supporting cooking.
Maybe
We're calling it two different things.
Maybe this is where I got confused then, because, and maybe this is actually, maybe you just like really, okay. So if you do support the cooking through dish cleaning, maybe my brain was confused of like, when is it not your job to support with dishes?
When I don't get any of the food. And that was used against me also.
It was.
That was used against me where I was like, oh, she's supposed to cook for me. Honey, the new dish thing that you threw at me, so confusing in my mind because I thought it was resolved.
You thought it was resolved. I'm
And
so
then
sorry.
it's like, I am so, and I, like my body got
can see it.
defensive.
I'm so sorry. I'm just trying to, I love the you just chill. I don't think it's sustainable.
Okay.
I don't. I love you with
Do
my
we have
whole
to solve it now?
No, but what I
I
want
thought this was the resolution podcast.
Sorry. No, I'm too creative for that, honey. And we can do this at a separate time.
We can have a third podcast
No,
about
we can have a
dishes?
podcast on.
Let's just turn it into a dish podcast. Let's get some sponsors.
Okay. So, at a later time, this is what I would like us to have a conversation about. Your face right now, I hope we're split screen because your puzzlement, okay?
Uh-huh.
I would like us to actually delineate a couple things for my brain. Call
Sure.
it placating the wife.
Go ahead.
Happy wife, happy life.
I hate that shit. Go
I know
ahead.
you do, okay? I would like to parse out at a different time who leads and who supports cooking and dishes, sure. I would like to be really clear about that because absolutely do I want you to chill in certain things and give me more agency and individuation on my body? Yes. Yes, I do. But if it is truly an affront to you, right, like hurts your feelings that you don't feel seen, then I want to support you in that. Why are you shaking your head?
Because I don't want to get my feelings hurt by dishes. So that's why I want to chill on it. I don't want to, God, this is going public, where my feelings get hurt by dishes. Nope.
Okay, Mr.
We're using
trying
paper
to
plates.
be tough.
We're using fucking paper plates from now on and plastic
Trying
forks.
to be tough.
I'm not trying to be tough. I just, I just want to relax on it. It is a pet peeve, but like it's going to get done and it's not on me to fix.
I know that you keep trying to compartmentalize with the life of you, okay? But it's not actually about the fucking dish.
How
It
are
is
we
about.
going back to being stressed out about fucking
I'm
dishes?
not stressed. You're stressed because
I'm
the sound.
very stressed. And the sound quality is getting crushed right now.
It's not about the dish. It is about being disrespected, okay? And I would feel the same way if you did not support me in a way you had said you would support me. Okay. So what I want to get inside is, where did I misunderstand that it was just okay for me to leave a dish because I would clean it later? Okay. It would be the same. I'm trying to think. You don't do anything like this because you're just innately built differently, right? But yeah, there are ways to support each other in partnership. I choose partnership with you, damn it. Okay? I want to support you. Do I need to submit? No. But do I need to support? Yes. Because I've chosen partnership. I could go be on my own.
Okay, like the shoes not getting put away downstairs. If you were to say that's a pet peeve, which you have, it's like I want them in the thing. I just put them away.
Well, and I'm
because I don't want to cause pet peeves.
exactly.
For you.
And this is on me. I want to do better of, hey, I own and I take accountability for that front hall when a guest comes in.
Yeah.
I would like those shoes away, my family.
Great.
I would like you to support me
Done.
by putting your shoes away. I'm
Done.
going to do a better job of that too, because I want you to see how I take ownership for that. And if guests were coming over, I would go through that hall and I would clean, I would tidy it up. I totally would.
Okay. The
It
dishes are on my Mount Rushmore, so it's top 4.
They are.
Yeah,
and
it's
so,
probably 1.
yeah.
So it's Washington.
And
Lincoln.
so I just want to have that conversation at a different time, because I don't think that I want to give you grace, hun. I don't think you're upset about the fucking dish. I think the dish said, I support her and she doesn't support me.
Correct.
Okay?
Yeah.
So stop trying to be all like non-feely. It hurt. Okay? What I'm trying to figure out is your partner is how to avoid hurting you while still loving myself.
Do the dish.
I don't want to do it out of do the dish. I want to do it out of understanding how it.
Well, no, that's how you can.
Right.
Like I put my shoes away.
Yeah.
Or I stop blowing snot rockets on the tile in the bathroom. Fucking disgusting.
We are finding all these things that you do because now I feel empowered. I'm like, actually, you do things.
Yeah.
You blow your nose in the shower.
I'm an annoying curmudgeon.
Leave it on the shower.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, it is. And yet, still turn me on in that chair with your grouchy face over the sound. So anyway.
Don't start whispering on this fucking thing.
We can wrap this podcast.
Okay.
I think this is what I would love our audience to take away, is that to solve this conflict, we got naked and touched each other. Okay, we stopped talking.
Apparently, we got to get naked and touch each other again because all this old shit's getting churned up.
It's not. Does it feel like that to you?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
This confused me. I thought we were gonna come in here like easy breezy. This was very confusing for me, at least like the second half of this, the last 20 minutes of this conversation. Completely confused when it's like, take more ownership on the dishes. And then like, who's the owner, who's the support, and like, you're the owner of the dishes. And I'm like, I'm the owner of the fucking dishes? Fuck! Fuck! But I don't want to own the dishes!
But the owner of the Giants doesn't play on the field. Okay, so ownership, you don't have to think.
You got to stop throwing footballs now. When they blow the whistle and they're behind the line of scrimmage.
Nope, you lost me there. I don't know any further. Stop. It's got me scared. Oh, I love you.
When it's a squib kick. Yeah, I love you too. You want to go have sex?
Yes, I do. But can I finish my thought? I want our audience to know that we touched each other and that it's okay to zoom out. What I have been trying to do, I know you think it got resolved, but you rolling over, right? As we saw in the last podcast, not resolution.
That wasn't. We're acknowledging that was the opposite of resolution.
Okay. And you thought the resolution was chill.
Both of us chill.
I don't think that's a fucking resolution.
You don't think it's a long-term resolution?
No, darling. Sure. Did it solve? Are we back in good communication?
Does one of us need to get a dish ID as the owner?
Yes, I love that.
I want to drop it out of a leather wallet.
Love that idea.
Owner motherfucker.
Okay. I think it is a short-term resolution to getting back in communion, for a better word, to each other. We've been great.
What's an idea of a long-term
That's
resolution?
what I'm trying to fucking say.
I'm now receptive to hear you. Go ahead. Please, no football analogies. Please. Okay. So, hey. First quarter, you have the ball. Go ahead.
Great. Who's
first and 10?
You're so overwhelmed. I'm so overwhelmed. Don't give me football analogies. I'm sweating, cold sweating. Long term, I want to do some deciding of who is accountable for what tasks in this home, who leads it, and who supports it.
Okay.
Because that doesn't feel like submission to me. Cool. That feels like teamwork. That feels like a healthy business. That feels like lovers who support each other.
If we're cooking solo, can we just clean up after ourselves in our own time?
That's exactly what I would love the owner of the plan to tell me that I can do. 100%. Because if you have told me...
Maybe stop telling me I'm the owner of the dish
Why?
Please stop telling me that we're co-owners of the dish
No,
we're
I don't want to be co-owners.
kings.
Because then I'm going to make you mad. We're both kings.
Don't we preach like accountability and ownership on this fucking thing?
We do.
I don't understand.
We do.
But we're not doing it when it comes to the dishes?
Have you ever worked at a place where somebody wouldn't take ownership for like the boss wouldn't be bossy?
Most places I've worked for, someone doesn't take ownership.
Okay. All right. There's got to be, and that's why there's organizational charts. Okay. This is not a hierarchy. You don't rule over me. You don't.
Okay. I'm gonna take ownership as the owner. I'm gonna be the dictator. I'm gonna be the Fuhrer of the dishes. Mm-hmm. So, as the supreme leader of the dishes, is it cool? Would it be okay if? Is it cool if we just clean up after ourselves if we're doing solo stuff in our own time?
I love that.
Is it cool if we don't leave stuff overnight unless we communicate with each other?
Love it.
And then is it cool if it's hey, is it cool if one of us cleans up after the other it's done with like love and abundance, not out of spite.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, I'm cool with that because like sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I'll clean that stuff.
Right.
And there's nothing that clicks onto your brain where it's
No, because sometimes like you'll make sausages for yourself, and I'll clean that dish because I'm in there doing something else. Like I don't think in my head like, damn it, we had an agreement. No, that I love that. See, look at that ownership. That's beautiful. It's really hot, actually. I'm actually turned on.
As an owner, what are the repercussions? What are the repercussions if we don't do it?
This is where communication's beautiful, okay? Now we have communicated that. I don't know if we've ever had that little silly thing that you just said. I don't think we've ever said that. So now I know that if I don't support what you just shared, what we just agreed upon, that's on me.
Okay.
So you can.
What's the punishment?
Should there be punishments?
Yeah.
Oh, I like this.
Yeah. And that's the end of our podcast. Anything else, Jake?
No, but I love you. That.
Yeah,
That is what I'm trying to get to, though.
Cool.
That is what I'm trying to get to.
Okay.
Of Trey takes accountability for the dishes being where they're to be, for me having everything that I need when I go to cook, and he would love the same respect given to him.
I'm the czar. I'm the dish czar.
The dish czar. And we'll come up little titles for other people's things too. But I think in my mind that gets me out of submission. So thank you. And gets me to supporting a partner who I chose to be partnered to. And thank you for putting those little, right? It's like if we had a training guide, you put in there, when one is cooking for themselves, there is free autonomy to clean up those dishes within this time period because it's understood that perhaps there was a busy time. Thank you for putting that in.
It only took 20 minutes for me to get on your page.
Do you feel like you just rolled over again?
No.
Did you just submitted?
No.
Okay.
No,
oh,
not at all.
gosh. Because I was like, I just did it again.
Me, the version of submitting is this. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
all right,
I didn't.
All right. That's me submitting where it's like, oh, motherfucker. Where I shut down, my brain shuts down.
Yeah.
But if it's open to things, I am not submitting. You good?
Thank you for having this follow-up conversation with me.
Yeah, me too. I mean, you're welcome. Love you.
I love you.
Bye.
Mwah. The opinions expressed on this podcast are just that, opinions. We encourage you to take what you like and leave the rest. We love research and hope you do your own. We hope that our successes and failures enable you to build the partnerships you dream about. So I like to take a little minute just at the end of these podcasts to talk about the platform that we use for our podcast called Anchor. When we were first getting into the scene of podcasting, I didn't know much, but did a simple Google search and found that by just uploading one high-res video to Anchor's platform, it does the rest of the work for me, pushes out the audio and video to every platform podcast users use. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me, and I'd love to tell you more about Anchor.